I just got done watching a video by Yako, I can't say the name. I'll link the video in the description because it's very important and yeah, so you can clickbait it. So I'm talking about this video as well as the sort of perspective I have on the whole thing really. So I play Genshin Impact. I've played it since 2020 I think, the first Lantern Rite. And yeah, it sort of has taken over my life for better and worse. I would say it's the best thing, but it's still something. And that's really why I keep playing it, honestly. It's not that I don't enjoy the game, I do enjoy it in various aspects. But there are moments where I don't, and it kind of it feels like a turd really. At times it can be the worst game ever, at the same time it can be the best. But I wanted to talk about some things I've written down. I was thinking about this and I forgot to address whether I'm in the zone or not, because that was the term coined in the video as part of a book apparently. Because there's this thing called the zone where you just get so into a game that you don't really see anything outside of it or something like that. I probably butchered the explanation, but it's definitely something there. I think, yeah, I've just got a bunch of talking points really. I said here the video is not wrong. Live services do have a place so long as they're made well. And yeah, I think that's the thing though. I think live services can be done well, but they need to be done in a way that isn't predatory, and I'll talk about this after this point. But in terms of like events and stuff, they have a place as long as they're not FOMO or tied to the main story, which players have complained about for years. And for some reason Hoyoverse hasn't listened, no surprise. Just waiting for the thumbnail, just get over and done with. But seriously, there are some really good aspects to the game, and there are bad aspects that honestly make me refrain from recommending the game, even promoting parts of it. And I don't obviously cover everything that happens in the game because there are real shit moments and stuff. Like, I can't tell you, I've had so many bad times with Genshin that it just often doesn't make it into the video, as I make a random moment series where I just play games. And also those that don't make it just don't make it really. But I do sometimes even like rage moments which are real and genuine and somewhat come at cost my mental health sadly, because I've somehow got that issue. I'm not sure how to describe it exactly, but it's existed since I've played live service games, and I feel it's just going to stay just because of what it is. Yeah, so live services can be done well. I play Deep Rock Galactic, as you've probably seen in the background. I really enjoy Deep Rock Galactic. It's probably one of the best games I've ever played. And coming from a game like Genshin, and also I discovered that game during the Sumeru update, and what's fucking crazy about that is the Sumeru update was arguably one of the worst that existed. And it's crazy for that reason because it means that essentially, damn, brain fault. Yeah, because there's a Sumeru desert, it meant that I had something better to gain my interest, and it worked, honestly. It just felt a lot better, and that's the thing really. When a game is so good that you want to play it over everything else, that shows it's a good game. There's no denying that at all. That's very much a real thing, and I feel like a lot of people who invest time into gachas, which I might go into later, is they sort of distance themselves from reality. and that includes like obviously Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, probably other games like Fate and whatnot, especially whatnot. And because people distance themselves from reality, they lose sight of pretty much the best things, like the things that are actually genuinely good about games, the things that make them fun. And that's what I feel I've seen done bad in other live services. It's when they become PvP and competitive, which these games have, unfortunately, because of in-game content. Like, it sucks. Yeah, I remember my time in Overwatch 1 actually. That was kind of hellish to an extent because of how poorly done just the entire thing was. They made it more competitive, they made it less interesting with every patch somehow, and even with like the live service stuff like the cosmetics, somehow they got worse. And in Overwatch 2 they've peaked at worst fucking cosmetics ever. Because not only are they monetized, they're just fucking outright outlandish and crazy. So yeah. Anyway, onto the talking points. I never condone Gacha, let alone RNG power mechanics and FOMO. This should be quite obvious if anyone has watched my videos on this. On the games anyway, me playing it. I've never enjoyed these mechanics, and that's because, what's my voice going? Not even ill. And that's because I've just never enjoyed them. They cost money sometimes, and I just never felt rewarded by it. Even recently, when I've got 2 fucking banner weapons at once in one temple, I just didn't care. Well, it surprised me, but at the same time I was like, yeah, okay. So what? We've got some good RNG, who cares? But meanwhile, if this was another player, they'll be posting about it and bragging. It's just fucking crazy to me that that's how delusional people are in this game. As I said, I'll go into the community thing later on, but holy shit, that is peak delusional. To think that you're luckier than everyone else or something, it's just, what? Oh, I don't get it. But yeah, I also don't condone the FOMO in it, like events and stuff, go into that later. That's why the RNG power. Having artifacts be multiplying the daily grind thing is stupid. I'd rather grind it for like 30 minutes per day and hopefully get something good out of it. And because they haven't sort of alleviated that issue, that's always going to be a problem. And I've seen it tear the community apart in a sense, which again I'll go into later. And that's sort of the thing that's sucky. But my next point is about my mental health and how it's been during playing these games. I've definitely had more ups and downs when playing them because I feel comfortable, which is the only thing about this game that it has over others to a certain extent. Like I tried it on Core a few months ago, made me fucking miserable. I didn't want to play it anymore after that stealth mission. I thought that's just fucking stupid and realised it was a Souls-like and just quit immediately. I don't have the time or patience for it. I want to see progress, and that's one of the things that unfortunately live services deliver well on. You know, even Zero Galactic here, or even Final Fantasy, you do get to see progress, and that's a worrying thing. It's alarming in a sense. And it's because it's got that sort of dopamine hit when you progress that it just makes it harder to pull away from. I certainly had my own struggles with trying to get off these current games that I'm playing and trying to play something else. I think the only other game I played this year that I enjoyed was Melm Hellsinger. Yeah. But honestly, since playing Genshin Impact and Star Rail, I just felt I've had more things to look forward to and give me sort of like a push in the day. I'm currently on a medication called metazapine. I struggle with suicidal thoughts and depression and also anxiety. Sometimes I think even psychotic thoughts. They've lessened since I've been on it though, and that's probably the whole point of them, without realising. And since they've been lessened, I've been happier, and I've been enjoying games more. And that's also sort of the problem as well, because I think a lot of vulnerable people are sort of dragged into these games because of that. And we start to feel like we can't try any other games because we're not in the comfort zone. And it's easier for people to get hooked on what they know. And I think it's true for even things like food in real life. I know I have a sort of sugar addiction as it currently is. I eat something sugary every day unless I'm too full, like sick, full sort of feeling. But yeah, I just have like a chocolate bar every day, and I know it's not healthy, but I definitely can't help it. And the medication doesn't help because it makes me hungry. So there's also that problem. But if I had a game like D-Rock Galactic that was really had me invested, then I'll be fine, I think. I'll be able to overcome it to an extent. Next thing to talk about is the community's toxicity of each other. And there's a lot of things here. They take issue with whether you follow the meta or not, because I've seen like videos of like people with unusual team compositions. Like say in Star Rail it's like 2 preservation characters and 2 DPS. People will say, you can't do that. You can't fucking play like that, you're gonna lose and shit. And it's like, why? Who cares? And even though it won't get you through the end game for sure, and they're not complaining about the end game, usually it's about the story, which I did once because I quit the game initially, come back and Star Rail. I couldn't beat any bosses because I didn't have the characters. I didn't have any builds for them, the ones I currently had. Were New Zealand and Gacha and Fire Trailblazer and Bonya. Supposedly the best ones back in the day, but now, nope. They're no good. Like, even though Trevor's somewhat questionable in today's meta, Fire Trailblazer, nope. Bonya, Powercraft twice, 3 times actually. And Zila has been Powercraft as well, and that's a crazy thing. But the community seems to take issue with what other players are doing rather than what they're doing, which is fucking crazy. And I'm able to do the endgame content in both games now after so much time put into it. But it's an issue as well because the community will complain either way. Like, you didn't zero cycle, or you didn't somehow beat all stages with 3 stars or whatever. And it's like such a trivial issue, but also this is where the toxicity comes in. I call it artificial toxicity, and it's created by competitiveness as well as having things that are challenging in the game. And there's something true for most challenging games anyway, competitively. When there's a challenge presented, it can just lead people down a road of toxicity, and that will alienate a portion of the player base. I've seen it in D-Rock Classic even, and it's much less there because people just have fun playing the game. It's not a game that's trying to get you to play competitively, even hard for that matter. It's trying to get you to enjoy the game. But in Honkai Star Rail and Genshin, it's like, nope, you have to play this to get the rewards, and you have to use the rewards to roll on Gacha and level up characters, and it's all sort of predatory. Well, it's predatory, it's not sort of, it is. And as if this part of the community wasn't bad enough, there's also the Gachas. And people have their own sort of issues with the Gacha, but sometimes pleasing to others, where it's just, you're not lucky in pools and players will accuse you of being bad and not spending well, or even like having the right characters to put on and stuff. Even though the common sentiment is you have to build the characters that you enjoy most, you like the most. To me, that's a delusional point, because I think if you do it by that metric, you miss out on what are better defining characters. And again, I'm not condoning gambling at all. The problem is when a character is so power creeping and stuff, or power creeps, however you say it, when older characters are power creeps, new ones come along that essentially beat them, and whether you like the character or not that's beating them, it's pretty much uncontested who's actually king in the meta. And that creates toxicity, because you either have to play like everyone else does, or I don't know what you call it, like get swept under the rug, something like that. But again, the community just takes issue with it, and they end up taking it out on the community when they fail polls and stuff. And it's like, oh, okay, our fault. I suppose so. Next thing to talk about is basically my critiques of the games and what I've been giving in survey feedback. I've got a whole list of what Genshin and Star Rail needs to do, and I also have lists in my head for what other games that I've never seen have to do before I ever think of looking at them. There's a lot to improve, and Genshin's list is fucking crazy, which is testament to how badly designed the game is. Okay, how many pages? I know it's only two pages, but it's got like 30 odd points to give, and that's just nuts. But Honkai Star Rail is much fewer because it's actually a well-designed game. Other than the Gacha and the HP inflation, there's a lot of aspects of Honkai Star Rail that are just done well over Genshin. There's a lot of quality of life that it has over Genshin. A lot of people noticed that, and it became pretty much a meme of Honkai did what, or Star Rail did what Genshin don't. And that's one of the problems with live service games. They're always going to have these flaws, but there are flaws that are so obvious. If you played it as a player, you'd know the issues, and this goes for the Gacha as well itself. If a Gacha costed, what, £30 to guarantee a character, I'd have no problem with that. Like, to me, that's more justifiable than what it currently is, which is like £250 for even just getting one 5-star. And that's not even considering winning or losing pity, which is a system that sort of stops it. Either guarantees you the character on the banner or not. It's just like, if you're a player you would understand, but you don't. And this is why I say test the game as a player, not the developer, because it's important to get the whole experience and not learn it in a closed space. Because when you do it in a closed space, you don't get all the bugs, you don't get these like minor inconveniences that appear. There's a lot of things like that. Yeah, just bringing awareness to that list. Next thing is really a statement. I could put my time and money into Final Fantasy XIV, but I don't, because these games take up my time. I used to be a collector in World of Warcraft. I didn't buy everything, but I did grind it. It was hell. And it took me a while to get over that collecting anxiety sort of stuff, because I used to do like the world first heroic grade stuff, which guarantees you amount. And in general, that was tearing my life apart, so I quit and moved on to this game, or these games even. And it's for the better, honestly. But I think people who haven't gotten over that sort of collector anxiety just will always feel the need to collect. You know, and one of the things that people forget about Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail and even possibly Final Fantasy, these games won't necessarily last forever. One day the servers are going to shut down, and all that story that you've experienced will just be gone. And that's sort of one of the things that stops me from pulling. And we're going to like spend money sort of spent on it later, but that's one of the things that stops me from spending too much on it. And the way I've seen things like the Welkin and the Battle Pass justified is it's like a subscription cost, which isn't like the worst thing really. The problem is it has the gacha, so it's kind of like you can't win. Yeah, that's like the problem with collecting and stuff, and as much as I'd rather be playing Final Fantasy 14, learning every single character in that, and character, I mean job, what's it called? I just can't pull myself away from like Genshin and Star Rail because they're for the most part enjoyable. There's not things I detest when I wake up and log in. They're things I do sort of look forward to. And that's somewhat important really. And next is teething problems. So Honkai Star Rail and Genshin still have these problems of like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like quality issues with them. Obviously with the voice actor strike, there's so much voice actors missing. So there's no like voice dialogue anymore for some reason. I don't understand what's going on with that strike because it's been going on for over 4 months and like they said there was a resolution but there isn't. So I'm confused about that. But anyway, aside from that, there's also like there's not even minor things. I say it's quite major when there's things like NPCs that turn bad. Say like your standard Favonius Knight in Mondstadt turns bad, and they'll instead replace their model with like a treasure hoarder instead of like an actual fucking knight or the model themselves. It just makes no sense, and I said it here, but they often write it so that the characters end up being those enemy models. So you could be working with a standard like Monster Knight for a while, and then they turn out to be a Fatui agent. It's like, okay, even though there's no hints, and you just did that just so we can fight them. It just makes no sense, and there's a lot of these teething problems around the game, just in small areas. That's why I have a fucking entire list of it. A list of things to improve even. I just can't believe that's something that they can get away with. Yeah, even like, you could just do cutscenes. That's the other thing. There's no reason not to, it's just mind baffling. Anyway, so the next and last thing is about the money spent. I think I did a video on this, but I've basically spent around, over the past, well since playing Genshin and Star Rail, about £1,000 roughly. And I think that's enough to get me, I think almost a decade worth of Final Fantasy 14 subscriptions on the 6-month subscription, which is fucking crazy. I do have a bit of a FOMO problem with these games, which I'm also ashamed of, and I'm not ever going to sort of justify that. It's just that my mind very much sort of, is it flip-flops? I don't know what you call it. It jumps from one thing to another. I go through these points of like, okay, I don't need this, it's not a big deal. I could wait for it, I could see if I get it at the end of the patch or something. But then it just goes to, okay, I need this. This literally is a SpongeBob meme. I don't need it, I need it. And that's the predatory nature of it, really, of the gacha, and all these microtransactions within it. It's one of those things that I do sort of wish governments would intervene in a sense. Not by spending strictly, but just the games in general and how they're monetized. Because I'm on the autism spectrum and have learning difficulties, it can be a big task to sort of overcome things. And the problem there is that it isn't as simple as other people make it out to be. So, yeah, essentially when people can sort of draw themselves away from a game because it's predatory, I'm just stuck there, struggling and realising that there's not much I can do. I'm just stuck here. And I can't pull myself away because there's so much going on, so much anxiety. And yeah, as I said, as a player, gachas are quite costly. They're more costly than Overwatch ever was. And I only spent on that like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. Getting the 50 loot boxes for seasonal events. Yeah. It's just the sad reality of this, really. And as much as there's things I could better put my money into, which I do, by the way. I make music, I make artwork, I put money into those. I do have to be careful of what I spend money on. Because I'm not actually earning money. I'm on disability benefits and stuff, and that's not helpful at all. I've also been told by doctors and got a doctor's note I cannot get a job. It's simply too dangerous for me to get a job. And so I'm stuck in between here. I put time and money into hobbies, like 3 hours a day into hobbies. And I put the rest into gaming and real life. Just doing various things. I try to be helpful to people as well. And I think like kindness can often come from darkest places. That sounds just weird to say that. It is sort of a dark place to be in. Because I want to be out there earning money and doing a job that's benefiting people. But I can't. It's simply too much. And this is why I think gacha games are just so costly. Because they sort of keep you in your dark place. And again, that's why we need governments to intervene, to start regulating this shit, to remove the gacha. And it should go without saying that the fact that I'm still playing these games, but I quit the game Armored Core, it shows the quality of the games is definitely higher than standard. It's not the best I've seen, but it's higher than most AAA games out there. And I honestly can't say I regret my time with Genshin Impact on Honkai Star Rail, but I'm not going to pick up another game because my time with these games is strictly with them. And I don't want another game that does that to me. I've sort of found actually that I'm not going to touch any other live service game unless it does something completely different. And it's not like a Genshin like. And when these games finish, and when their patch cycles finish and stuff, I'll always jump onto another game. I always try to anyway. Find something different to do, it's different to play. And invest into like other hobbies perhaps. And essentially Genshin and Honkai Star Rail will be my last games hopefully. From Hoyoverse anyway. I don't really want any other fucking games to play after that. Yeah, that's the video really. So thanks for watching, and I recommend you check out the video from Yako Yeah, that's the cost of a gacha as a player.